Was the most mysterious queen in the Quran even human? For centuries, scholars, storytellers, and seekers of truth have debated the origins of Queen Bilqis, the legendary queen of Sheba. Some say she was born of royal blood. Others whisper that her lineage was touched by the supernatural, with rumors swirling that she was half jinn, half human. But what is the truth behind these captivating tales? Why does her story continue to fascinate and puzzle believers and historians alike? Today we embark on a journey that will peel back the layers of myth and legend, diving deep into the Quranic account and the ancient traditions that surround this enigmatic ruler. Prepare to discover secrets that have been hidden for generations, lessons that reach far beyond the sands of ancient Arabia, and a story that challenges everything you thought you knew about faith, power, and destiny. Stay with us because what you're about to learn may change the way you see history and yourself, forever. In the heart of ancient Arabia, where the desert winds carried secrets and the sun blazed with relentless power, there flourished a kingdom unlike any other. Sheba, known as Saba in the old tongues, was a land of breathtaking beauty and unimaginable wealth. Its cities sparkled with gold and precious stones. Its markets overflowed with spices, incense, and treasures from distant lands. Towering palaces rose above lush gardens, and the air was thick with the scent of frankincense, a fragrance so prized that it was worth its weight in gold. Caravans from Sheba traveled across continents, their riches fueling legends that would echo through the ages. Yet beneath this dazzling surface, something vital was missing. The people of Sheba, for all their prosperity and sophistication, bowed, not to the creator of the heavens and the earth, but to the sun itself. Each morning, as dawn broke over the kingdom, men and women gathered in grand temples, their faces turned skyward, their hearts devoted to a burning star. The sun was there. God, its light their hope, its warmth their comfort. But in their worship, there was a hollowness, a spiritual hunger that no amount of gold or glory could satisfy. Politically, Sheba was a force to be reckoned with. Its Queen Bilqis ruled with intelligence and strength, commanding respect from allies and rivals alike. Yet the kingdom's true test was not one of armies or wealth, but of faith. In a world where power and pride reigned, the question loomed: would Sheba's queen and her people ever find the truth that lay beyond the brilliance of the sun? The stage was set for a journey that would challenge everything they believed, and change the course of history forever. Long before her name echoed through the halls of power, Bilqis was already the subject of whispers and wonder. Born into the royal family of Sheba, her early life was shrouded in both privilege and mystery. Some ancient tales claim her mother was a noble queen, while her father's identity became the source of endless speculation. Here, the legend takes a turn that has fascinated generations. Some say her father was not a man at all, but a powerful jinn who fell in love with a human queen. Could it be that Bilqis herself was the product of two worlds, half jinn, half human? Or was this simply a story spun by those who could not comprehend her extraordinary gifts? The myth of Bilqis's supernatural origins grew as her reputation soared. She was said to possess a beauty that dazzled all who saw her, with eyes that seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. Her intelligence was unmatched, her wit sharp as a blade, and her ability to command respect from the fiercest warriors and wisest advisors was legendary. Even as a young woman, she displayed a wisdom far beyond her years, solving disputes with fairness and leading her people through times of both peace and turmoil. But why did the rumors of her being half-Jinn persist? Some say it was her uncanny ability to read people's hearts, to sense danger before it arrived, and to make decisions that seemed guided by an unseen hand. Others point to her rise to power in a world dominated by men, suggesting that only someone with otherworldly help could achieve such greatness. Yet, as we sift through the layers of legend and lore, a different picture begins to emerge, one of a woman whose strength came not from magic, but from her mind, her character, and her unwavering sense of justice. Still, the question lingers. Was Bilqis truly touched by the supernatural, or was she simply a remarkable human being whose story became larger than life? The evidence, as we will see, is both surprising and revealing. As we journey deeper into her life, we'll uncover the truth behind the myth and discover how Bilqis's unique qualities set her apart, not just as a queen, but as a symbol of wisdom and leadership for all time. While the kingdom of Sheba dazzled the world with its riches, there existed another realm, one that defied the very laws of nature. This was the kingdom of Prophet Sulaiman, known in the West as Solomon, a ruler whose power was not measured by gold or armies alone, but by miracles granted to him by Allah. Sulaiman was no ordinary king. He was a prophet, chosen by the Creator, to lead with justice and wisdom, and blessed with gifts that no other human had ever possessed. Sulaiman's court was a place where the impossible became reality. His army was unlike any the world had seen, composed not only of men but also of jinn, beings of smokeless fire, invisible to ordinary eyes, and a host of animals, each serving with loyalty and purpose. Birds soared above his palace, carrying messages across continents. Ants marched in organized ranks, their voices heard and understood by their king. Even the mighty wind obeyed Sulaiman's command, carrying him and his followers to distant lands in moments. The jinn, who once roamed the earth with pride, now worked under his authority, building palaces, retrieving treasures, and performing tasks that left onlookers in awe. But the true foundation of Sulaiman's kingdom was not his supernatural army or his vast wealth. It was his unwavering belief in the oneness of Allah. While the people of Sheba bowed to the sun, Sulaiman and his followers prostrated only to the Creator of the sun, the one who controls all that exists. His rule was a living testament to the power of faith, humility, and submission to divine will. The contrast between these two worlds could not have been greater. On one side stood Sheba, radiant in its material glory but lost in spiritual darkness. On the other, Sulaiman's kingdom, where miracles were commonplace but every blessing was attributed to Allah alone. What would happen when these worlds collided? When a queen who worshipped the sun came face to face with a prophet who commanded the wind and spoke to the jinn? The stage was set for a meeting that would not only test the limits of power and belief, but would also reveal truths that would echo through history. The answer lay just beyond the horizon, waiting to unfold. High above the endless sands, a small but extraordinary bird soared on the desert winds. This was the Hudhud, the hoopoe, a creature gifted with keen eyes and a restless spirit. Tasked by Prophet Sulaiman to scout distant lands, the Hudhud flew tirelessly, its wings slicing through the golden air as it searched for news worthy of a king. One day, as the sun rose over the horizon, the bird's sharp gaze caught sight of a city unlike any it had seen before. a city of towering palaces, lush gardens, and bustling markets, all shimmering beneath the blazing sun. Curious, the Hudhud swooped lower, weaving through the palm trees and rooftops until it reached the heart of Sheba. There, in a grand courtyard, it witnessed a scene that would change the course of history. The people of Sheba, dressed in their finest robes, had gathered in solemn silence. At their center stood a woman of striking presence, Queen Bilqis herself. As the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, the crowd bowed low, their faces turned not to the heavens, but to the sun itself. The queen led them, her hands raised in reverence to the burning star above. The Hudhud watched in astonishment, its heart pounding with the weight of what it had seen. How could a people so blessed with beauty and wealth worship a creation instead of the Creator? With a sense of urgency, the bird took flight, racing back across the desert to Sulaiman's palace. When it arrived, breathless and determined, it perched before the prophet and delivered its message. I have discovered a people, ruled by a remarkable queen, but they worship the sun instead of Allah. In that moment, the spark of change was lit, setting the stage for a confrontation that would test the faith, wisdom, and destiny of two great kingdoms. Upon hearing the Hudhud's astonishing report, Prophet Sulaiman wasted no time. He composed a letter, not with threats or boasts, but with the dignity and authority of a prophet. The message was simple, yet profound. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, do not act arrogantly toward me, but come to me in submission to Allah. With this, Sulaiman sent the Hudhud back to Sheba, the letter clutched tightly in its beak, a silent challenge soaring across the desert. When the letter arrived, it caused a stir unlike any the royal court had ever seen. Queen Bilqis, accustomed to receiving tributes and flattery, now faced a message that neither praised her power nor feared her armies. Instead, it called her to humility, to set aside pride and submit to a higher truth. She summoned her council, a gathering of the wisest and most powerful men in Sheba, and read the letter aloud. The room fell silent, the weight of Sulaiman's words pressing on every heart. Some advisors bristled with indignation. This is an insult to our sovereignty, they argued. We are a mighty nation, led by a queen whose wisdom and strength are unmatched. Shall we bow to a foreign king, no matter how miraculous his claims? Their pride was wounded, their sense of power challenged. Others, however, sensed the gravity of the situation. They had heard tales of Sulaiman's miracles, of armies that included jinn and beasts, of winds that carried him across the world. Perhaps this is no ordinary king, they cautioned. Perhaps we should proceed with care. Bilqis herself was torn. Her pride as a ruler urged her to defend her throne, yet her wisdom whispered caution. She weighed the risks of war against the unknown power of a prophet. In a moment of clarity, she decided to test Sulaiman's intentions. We will send him a gift, she declared, the finest treasures of Sheba. If he is swayed by wealth, he is a king like any other. But if he refuses, then we must prepare for something far greater. The stage was set, the tension between pride and humility, power and submission, hanging in the air. How would the queen respond to a prophet's challenge? The answer would shape the fate of two kingdoms. Queen Bilqis was not a woman to act rashly. After her envoys returned from Sulaiman's court, their faces pale and their voices trembling with awe, She knew that the world she had ruled so confidently was about to change. They spoke of a kingdom where the wind itself obeyed its master, where jinn and animals served alongside man, and where the treasures of Sheba seemed insignificant compared to the wonders they had witnessed. Sulaiman had refused her lavish gifts, sending them back untouched, his message clear. What Allah has given me is far greater than what you possess. For the first time, Bilqis felt the limits of her own power. Determined to see the truth with her own eyes, she prepared for a journey unlike any before. Her caravan was a spectacle of wealth, camels laden with gold, jewels, and rare spices, soldiers in gleaming armor, and advisors chosen for their wisdom. Yet beneath a display of grandeur, Bilqis's heart was a storm of emotions. Pride urged her to stand tall, to prove that Sheba's queen was no less than any king. Fear whispered of the unknown, of miracles and powers that defied reason. Curiosity, however, burned brightest of all. Who was this prophet who commanded the elements and spoke with such certainty? What force could make a ruler turn away treasures that would tempt any mortal heart? As the caravan crossed deserts and valleys, Bilqis's mind raced with questions. Each mile brought her closer to a destiny she could not predict. When at last she approached Sulaiman's city, her senses were overwhelmed. She saw palaces that shimmered like mirages, gardens lush beyond imagination, and an army unlike any on earth. The air itself seemed charged with a presence she could not name, but the greatest mystery awaited inside Sulaiman's palace. Rumors swirled among her attendants of a secret test, a challenge that no visitor had ever faced. What would it be? Would it reveal her strength or expose her weakness? As Bilqis stepped forward, her heart pounded with anticipation and dread. The queen who had ruled with certainty was now a seeker, standing at the threshold of a world where faith, not power, would decide her fate. As Queen Bilqis entered Sulaiman's palace, she was greeted by a sight that defied all her expectations. The entrance hall shimmered with an otherworldly brilliance, its floor appearing to be a pool of crystal-clear water. Light danced across the surface, reflecting the grandeur of the palace and the majesty of its ruler. Bilqis paused, uncertain, her eyes searching for a safe path. Was this truly water, or some illusion crafted by the prophet's power? Her advisors whispered anxiously behind her, but none dared to step forward. With careful grace, Bilqis lifted her dress to avoid getting wet, revealing her legs as she prepared to cross. In that moment, Sulaiman watched closely, for this was no ordinary test. Some had whispered that Bilqis was not fully human, that her lineage was touched by the jinn, and that her legs would reveal the truth. Yet, as she stepped onto the surface, her feet met not water, but smooth, flawless glass. The illusion was perfect, but the reality was clear. Bilqis was as human as any other, her beauty and strength the gifts of her creator, not the mark of supernatural parentage. Sulaiman smiled, his wisdom shining through. He explained that the glass floor was a test, not to embarrass or expose, but to reveal the truth behind the rumors. The Quran itself does not support the claim that Bilqis was half-jinn. Rather, it honors her for her intelligence, humility, and willingness to seek the truth. The myth of her supernatural origins was born from awe and misunderstanding, not from revelation. In that moment, Bilqis's humility shone brighter than any jewel. She did not protest or take offense. Instead, she acknowledged the greatness of Sulaiman's wisdom and the power of Allah who had granted such miracles. The queen who had once been the subject of legend now stood revealed, not as a creature of myth, but as a woman of courage, intellect, and faith. The contrast between myth and reality was laid bare, and Bilqis's true nature was finally known to all. Her journey had brought her not only to a new land, but to a new understanding of herself and her place in the world. In the heart of Sulaiman's palace, surrounded by wonders that no earthly kingdom could rival, Bilqis felt a change stirring deep within her soul. The illusions of power and pride that had once defined her reign now seemed fragile in the presence of true wisdom and faith. She remembered the countless mornings spent leading her people in worship of the sun, believing its light to be the source of all life. Yet here, in the company of a prophet, she saw that the sun itself was but a servant of the one who created it. With humility and awe, Bilqis turned to Sulaiman and spoke words that would echo through history. "My lord, I have wronged myself. I submit with Sulaiman to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Her voice trembled with emotion, but her heart was steady. In that moment, the queen who had once been a symbol of worldly glory became a beacon of spiritual transformation. Her declaration sent ripples through her court and her kingdom. Advisors and attendants, once proud sun worshippers, now witnessed their queen's courage and sincerity. Many followed her example, embracing the faith that had brought such peace and clarity to their ruler. The people of Sheba, inspired by Bilqis's journey, began to turn away from the worship of creation and toward the worship of the Creator. Bilqis's transformation was not just a personal victory. It was a turning point for an entire nation. Her willingness to seek the truth, admit her mistakes, and embrace faith over pride became a lesson for all who would hear her story. In her humility, she found greatness, and in her faith, she discovered and embraced them. Queen Bilqis is a light that would never fade. The story of Queen Bilqis endures not just as a tale of ancient royalty, but as a living lesson for every generation. Her legacy is one of wisdom, choosing to question, to listen, and to seek the truth even when it challenged everything she knew. Bilqis's humility in the face of Sulaiman's miracles reminds us that pride can blind even the most powerful, while faith can open doors to understanding and peace. She teaches us that true greatness lies not in wealth or status, but in the courage to admit our mistakes and the strength to change. In a world still divided by pride and uncertainty, her journey urges us to look beyond appearances and to pursue knowledge with open hearts. What can we learn from her story that could change our own lives? Perhaps it is this, that the search for truth is never wasted, and that the light of faith can transform even the most unlikely of hearts. The lessons of Bilqis are timeless, waiting for each of us to journey. Teaches us that wisdom begins with humility and that true strength lies in the willingness to seek and accept the truth. Her story reminds us to question our assumptions, to let go of pride, and to open our hearts to guidance, no matter where it comes from. Faith is not inherited by birth or status, but chosen through sincerity and courage. May we learn from her example and strive to embody these virtues in our own lives. O Allah, grant us the humility to recognize our mistakes and the wisdom to seek your truth. Guide our hearts away from arrogance and toward sincerity. Bless us with the courage to change when we are shown the right path, and help us to lead others with compassion and understanding. Make us among those who follow the light of faith, just as Bilqis did and keep us steadfast on the journey to you. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales. Do you think Queen Bilqis was half-Jinn or human? What lesson from her journey touched your heart the most? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from you.